Mayoral Memo with Matthew Dickerson from Dubbo Regional Council.
It's 12 minutes to 8 o'clock, as you well know. I say it all the time, I'm a sticky beak. I like to know what's going on around the area, and particularly around the western area of the state. And Dubbo, of course, is a particular interest to me because they've had a very, very big tournament over the weekend. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. But first of all, Matthew Dickerson, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kerry. Great to be chatting to you.
Thank you very much indeed. You had this huge touch football carnival in Dubbo over the weekend, and I've got a relative who lives on the coast associated with this, and she was sort of saying, why would we go to Dubbo for the touch football carnival? And she is absolutely raving about the success of it. It was fantastic.
It's quite interesting, Kerry. I think all of the major regional centres around here, Dubbo, Orange, Bathurst, all combined, if you like, all have a bit of the same problem that people on the coast assume as soon as you go inland, you must go to dusty old dirt bowls. You couldn't possibly have good facilities in regional areas. So they've got very low expectations, I think it's fair to say, Kerry. And then they come out, and we had 30 beautifully prepared grounds there for the touch footy tournament. 187 teams were here playing, approximately 8,500 people here for the 3 days of the tournament. And again, your comments from your friend there have been echoed through everyone that I spoke to over the weekend that just thought it was absolutely magnificent, couldn't believe how green it was, how well organised it was. In fact, if you let me, I won't do it right now, we'll finish off some other things, but I've got a limerick to finish off on this morning for you about the weekend.
Right. Okay, rightio, that's the other thing. Now listen, you've also been driving around in something that we all just absolutely love, of course, in the new parking software that you've got in Dubbo that you're trialling at the moment. How did that go?
Yeah, it was actually really interesting. We've been trialling that for a couple of months, and we're getting towards the end of the trial, and I wanted to jump in and just have a look at how it operated. So essentially, our parking officers just drive along the street now, no more going along and putting a bit of a chalk mark on someone's tyre and coming back to see if it's still there. They drive along the street. They've got an accurate GPS, so they know each parking spot exactly where it is. It reads the number plates automatically, and then as you loop back around, you might come back, say, an hour later that same area if it's a 1 hour parking spot. And then as you drive along, the little device in the car just goes ding, and you know that someone's been there for too long. They can pull up, they can check for a disability sticker on the front. No reason for it to be parked there. Okay, issue the fine. And it's quite incredible, Kerry. I probably spent 15, 20 minutes driving around with them. In that time alone, we were going up and down a couple of the streets and it was ding, ding, ding. So there's all these people that were parking longer than they should have been. And normally, because it's fairly labour-intensive process you normally don't get to book all those people, but this would, and it's not about revenue raising, this would increase the number of fines issued, but for the retailers down the main street, they're very keen to see those car parking spots turned over so they can get more trade through their businesses.
I was just thinking, driving around that car, you're not standing for election anytime soon, are you?
No, you're not going to win any popularity contest, are you?
Absolutely not. Okay, now, what else is happening in the area, sir?
Art Express. I love Art Express. They take over 8,000 artworks from the HSC each year and they narrow them down to the best of the best, and then you end up with some of those in art galleries across the state. Dubbo's opened on Friday, so we've got 38 artworks in there, and they're on display for 8 weeks. So if you're in Dubbo, definitely go and have a look at that. We've got one Dubbo student that is actually in that collection of work, so that's pretty exciting for her, obviously, to be amongst that collection. She's also featuring a couple of the other ones around the state as they move it around. But that's a really good idea to look at those, because I just get amazed at the talent and the creativity. So many different types of artwork are on display there. So that's a good one. The other quick one, which is interesting, is there's been a bit of controversy over the fact that there's been a DA lodged for a fourth McDonald's in Dubbo. And I have been given a bit of a hard time about this over the last week or so, Kerry. And some people are saying, how can you possibly want a fourth McDonald's? How can you be letting a fourth McDonald's in? And it's not really up to me. I know it sounds crazy in terms of council. It's not really up to me what type of business that we have. There's no place for a council to be saying we like a certain type of business, or we've got enough of those businesses, or there's already a Jimmy up the road doing that. Where our job, council's job and councillor's job, is to basically judge it on the legal compliance rather than the type of business. So we may end up with a fourth McDonald's, we may not, but the DA's been lodged for that fourth McDonald's, and it's not anything to do with council about the type of business, which is something people have a bit of trouble getting their head wrapped around.
Okay, now, the limerick.
Okay, I'll finish off with the limerick for you. This was written on the weekend for the touch footy. Here we go. In Dubbo, the sun shines so bright. The green grounds are a lovely sight. With touch footy to play on a fine weather day, it's a scene that just feels so right.
Thank you, sir, for your time. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Kerry.
Thanks, Matthew. It's good to talk to you. Catch up. There we go, Matthew Dixon.
Mayoral Memo with Matthew Dickinson from Dubbo Regional Council.